Okay. When you're finished speaking with Mr. Henry, and there you discussed in there a part where the officers were walking shoulder to shoulder down your parkway.
Yes.
So in terms of the time frame of that morning, when is this statement with Mr. Henry taking place?
The statement with Mr. Henry, well, I got at the hospital at 5, and I believe it was at 6:05 when we started the interview.
And so between 5 and 6 a.m., the area between 172 back east to 160th has already been searched.
That was, I believe, prior to me getting there. They had searched from I-75 to Dykes on 160th, and then after I left the hospital, because that's why you hear in the interview us talking about, well, we didn't find anything because that was the initial area that was searched. And so then after I left the hospital, I met, there's a Walgreens on the northwest corner of Dykes and Miramar Parkway. We met there with about 20 officers or so. There were sergeants, CSAs, road officers, traffic unit, and I told them I wanted to block off Miramar Parkway from 160th all the way to 172, the westbound lanes, and eventually we did that. But prior to that, Detective Moretti and Toyota drove Cortlen to the area to get a better, a lot of the interview, that's what we were trying, that was important for us to find a location and jurisdiction.
So is it clear there was actually 2 searches done between I-75 and 172?
Well, actually 3.
Oh, could you
There
explain?
was 175, I-75 to Dykes 160th. Then I was involved personally from 160th to 172. I assisted in walking that area also with, I think...
That's the 20 officers you were talking about?
Well, the 20 officers to block off everything, and then we had I think a dozen officers, including myself, that actually walked from 160th. This was a second search. And then once we finished that one, they continued from 172 to...
Is that the 184th we discussed earlier?
Right, exactly.
So going to the search from 160th to 172, you testified previously it's a mile distance.
Yes.
How long did it take to conduct that search of that mile with the 12 officers?
It took us about an hour to do it, because we would stop along the way, we would find a little debris, kind of look at it to see what it was, and that kind of stuff. And essentially we walked shoulder to shoulder, kind of like,
Okay. Did you find any shell casings?
No.
Any glass fragments?
No.
Any projectiles?
No.
Any tire marks?
No.
Any sort of impact or anything on the median that would indicate a crash or recent friction?
No.
The next thing that you did you continue on from 172 to 184 of that mile-long search?
Other officers continued that search.
But were you there personally?
No.
At that point, did you travel to a location in Fort Lauderdale, Florida?
Yes.
And would that be 805 Northeast 4th Avenue?
I believe so, yes.
When you arrived at 805 Northeast 4th Avenue, what was that?
That was a recording studio, kind of like in a warehouse district.
When you went there, did you make contact with the management and the owner-operator of that business?
Detective Toyota did.
Once you went to that studio, did you determine the name to be New Era?
Yes.
After you went to New Era, did you review the surveillance footage that was collected from New Era?
At one point I did.
Okay. I'm now approaching what's been previously marked as States G for identification purposes only.
Yes.
Detective Bertrand, is that the studio footage that you recovered from New Era on October 26th of 2018 along with Detective Toyota?
Yes.
Does it fairly and accurately depict the studio footage that you reviewed of October 26th of 2018?
Yes.
And at this time, the state would request me States G in.
No objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States G will be marked states number 7.
Thank you. Permission to publish?
Yes, you may publish. Are you looking to have the lights dim?
Yes, please, Your Honor. And so, Detective Bertrand, are there a number of clips on this particular footage that you retrieved?
Detective Toyota was the one that downloaded it, but I reviewed it all there also.
Okay. I only at this point am going to publish the exterior from channel 4, 2018, 1026, 02, 17, 41.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes? All right.
Detective Bertrand, in your experience in collecting and reviewing surveillance footage over the course of your career as a homicide detective, is the time always accurate?
No.
Is it your recollection that this was off by 1 hour due to time
Objection.
wasted?
And what's the objection?
Foundation.
Sustain, rephrase.
When this video was recovered, was there a determination made as to how far off the time was from real time?
Same objection.
Why don't you come sidewalk?
noise is horrific. I don't know if they can't just mute it. I don't know what it is, but that's horrible. You think so, sweet one? I don't know. I hate trials. I think they're so boring. There he is. He's wearing purple. Can't hate a dude wearing purple.
You arrived on scene with Detective Toyota. Was there a process in which you determined the time of which the DVR was currently recording it and the difference to the actual time?
I really wasn't involved in that portion of it.
So you wouldn't be the best person to ask
No.
them that? Understood. Prior to viewing this footage, had there ever been any mention of a fourth person in the gray Jeep?
No.
After you went to this location, did you travel back to Miramar?
We did.
And where did you go when you went back to Miramar?
We went to the office, which is in the clubhouse of Sunset Lakes.
And at that point, did you obtain surveillance footage from there?
Detective Toyota did.
And we're going to get that in for a different witness, so... Okay. Moving on to October 28th of 2018. Did you go out of town... I'm sorry, October 27th, 2018. Did you go out of town to help further interviews in this case?
I accompanied Detective Toyota, Moretti, and I believe Toyota and Tomlin.
Okay.
We went to Vero Beach.
Okay. When you went to Vero Beach, did you record those interviews up there?
No.
Do you remember who you spoke with?
I didn't speak to anyone. I stayed, I believe Detective Moretti conducted all the interviews. I stayed outside, and I think in like a kitchen area, kitchen living room area, and I just hung out with the family that was there.
Did you provide your contact information to the family?
I believe I did, yes. I left the card.
Specifically, Nakia Bagley, that individual, did you provide your contact information?
Yes.
Did Ms. Bagley, late without saying what she sent you, on the next day, October 28th, did Ms. Bagley send you text messages?
Let me go back. I'm not sure. I know I left a card. I'm not sure if it was her. I left my card at the house.
Okay. So that was on October 27th.
Yes.
So on October 28th of 2018, without going into what was sent to you, did you receive text messages from the family members of one of the deceased?
Yes.
Okay. Now, going forward on November 2nd of 2018, did you attend a memorial service or funeral in this case?
I did.
Is that common as a homicide detective?
It is.
Why would you do that?
One, show respect, and two, looking for information. Sometimes family members will come and approach us and talk to us. Friends, they'll come that previously didn't know about us, but now they see us there and they approach us.
Were you able to determine or develop any other leads yourself at that memorial service for
No.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Okay. Moving forward to November 8th of 2018, when the first batch of phone records came in, did you take additional investigative steps?
I accompanied Detective Moretti. He asked me, based on some phone records that he got back, he asked me if I could accompany him to search an area, and we did. We went out to US 27th. Should I go on?
Please, and so you
We went to the first place we drove to was Holiday Park, which is a trailer park north of Pines Boulevard on the left-hand side of US 27th.
Well, when you say left hand, do you mean
West side.
the west side? Okay.
West side.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Okay. And describe to ladies and gentlemen of the jury how populated that is.
It's a trailer park, so obviously the construction is not like a house. It's not fortified or what have you, and And it's pretty densely populated with a lot of trailers and stuff like that.
In your statement with Mr. Henry, you alluded to some investigation with the sheriff's office off of I-95 in Hollandale Beach Boulevard.
Yes.
As a detective in the Homicide Bureau, was it common to reach out to other jurisdictions for information?
Yes, I think while we were there, we got some information of
Objection. Hearsay.
Sustained as to what the information was.
So with regards to the trailer park, did you find any evidence of a shooting that had occurred at that trailer park?
No.
Did any witnesses come forward and speak to you at the trailer park?
No.
Were there any ballistic signs at the trailer park that there had been any shooting?
No, in fact, we kind of concluded that based on the construction of the trailers and stuff like that, and the amount of damage bullets that were fired at the car, it was our belief that someone would have called if it happened there.
So going forward to November 21st of 2018, did you have the occasion to respond to US 27 and Pembroke Road?
That was a second search that we did.
And when you responded to there, who was present?
Detective Moretti, Detective Toyota, Detective Smith, I believe Detective Tomlin was there, I was there, and there were some canine officers from Fort Lauderdale PD.
When you were there, did you personally collect any evidence?
No,
Who would have done that?
crime scene,
Why is that?
because that's their job.
As a homicide detective, do you collect evidence?
Sometimes, but we always have crime scene. If they're there, under certain circumstances, we may, if crime scene wasn't there and we couldn't get them out.
And other than the investigation at US 27 that you were present for and Pembroke Road, did you have any other involvement in this case?
No, going back to the one on the November 8th, we also searched from Pembroke Road. After we left the trailer park, we went back to Pembroke Road, and Detective Moretti and I walked from Pembroke Road all the way to Taft, north on Taft to Taft, and then back. That was about 2 miles. We walked the northbound lanes and then southbound lanes, and we didn't find anything
And that's again on US 27.
on US 27.
Okay. Nothing further with this signature.
Counsel, is there any cross-examination of this witness?
Yes, briefly, Your Honor. Thank you. Detective Frederick. Good afternoon.
How soon after the car arrived at the hospital would you say you got involved in the investigation?
Well, at 5 o'clock in the morning is when I got called out. I don't have the actual incident report to see when the call was dispatched, but I got to the hospital at 5:47 is when I arrived at the hospital.
Okay. So you got there within an hour?
Yeah, 47 minutes exactly
Okay.
of when I got called out.
Okay. And your first assignment or the first task that you undertook was the first substantive task was to interview Mr. Henry, Cortlen Henry, say?
Yeah, well, the first thing was I got briefed by the officers that were there. They told me what they had done to that point, which was the 75 to 160th search, and they didn't find anything. And then after that is when proceeded to interview.
Okay. So prior to you even discussing the matter with Mr. Cortlen Henry for the first time, you had already been told that based on the description of the location of the incident that he provided to law enforcement, they found no evidence.
Right, from I-70, based on what Cortlen told the officers.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So at that time, you had already formed the impression that he was either mistaken or not being candid.
Well, it was, I think through the statement, it was pretty evident that we were trying to narrow down where that location was. You know, because we knew that based on what he initially told the officers, it didn't happen there. So we were trying to narrow it down. That's why you keep hearing us trying to figure out the locations and giving descriptions of landmarks in the area to kind of narrow down where that location was so we can look for evidence.
Right. Because he wasn't giving you exact addresses, he was giving you descriptions, and you were trying to decipher from the descriptions that he provided
Right.
where he might have been described.
Exactly, where the incident happened.
And you knew to this point, at least up to the point where you began your interview with him, that the information, or at least the impressions that law enforcement had formed based upon what he said, were not matching up. Right?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, you start off your interview by telling him, hey, we got a problem. What you told us is not matching up with what we found at the scene.
Right.
And you developed an impression throughout the course of that interview that he wasn't being candid. Did you not?
Well, later on, we did, after we saw that there was a fourth person in the car, when we didn't find any evidence. But that's why we brought him to, we had officers, two detectives bring him to the scene to kind of narrow down the search area. But we did a pretty wide search of the area, just in case he was mistaken.
Sure. But even before you took him out to the scene, you were making, during the process of your, would you define your interaction and your exchange with Mr. Henry as an interview or an interrogation?
It was an interview.
At that time, you didn't perceive him to be a suspect.
No.
You perceived him to be a victim.
Yes.
But you're also of the impression that he was being dishonest with you because, I mean, several times throughout your statement, we can say, hey, you know, there's a problem. You might not want to lie to us, right?
Well, we also had misinformation in reference to an incident that happened on the east side of this city in BSO jurisdiction, which we thought could have been involved, but we later found out it wasn't. So we were mistaken about that. So we were just trying to get, it was important for us to find the location, one, because of evidence, you know, to look for evidence that would help us with the case. And the second reason was jurisdiction.
Sure. But I mean, you're a seasoned detective, right? You're retired now.
Yes, sir.
So at the time that this transpired, you were, how long were you in the force?
26 years.
And how long have you been a detective?
24 years.
And how long have you been a homicide detective?
About 13.
So it would be fair to say that you had a dual purpose during that interview. You were trying to, or at least three purposes. You were trying to determine the boundaries of jurisdiction, right?
Correct.
You were trying to identify the location that this incident took place
Yes, sir.
in order to determine boundaries of jurisdiction,
Yes, sir.
and also to further your investigation.
That's correct.
And you're also trying to get a gauge of whether the person to whom you were speaking was involved or not involved. Right?
Yes.
Fair.
Yes.
I mean, the number of times that you implied to him that he might be being dishonest as opposed to merely mistaken. You heard the tape earlier, right? You recall.
I didn't have a preconceived notion as to whether he was being dishonest or not. We had some mistaken information. Maybe that's where it came across that way, that there was an incident on the east side, which we later found out it wasn't. We were just trying to find out the location where it happened.
So when you were telling him stuff like, hey, you know, if it was my friend, I'd really want to help the law enforcement officers out. I mean, don't you want to help your friend? You weren't trying to get him to be candid. You were trying to get him to reach into the depths of his recollection. Is that what you're trying to do?
I would say probably both.
Okay. So you were trying to make an assessment of his credibility throughout the course of this exchange.
Sure.
Fair, right?
Sure.
Okay. So you, I mean, having been a detective for so long, you kind of have a BS meter. You refer to, I don't want to be BS, right?
Yes, sir.
You figure you have a BS meter that's pretty well calibrated.
I guess.
Was it going ding, 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 ding?
Like I said, I was trying to find out where the incident happened.
I understand.
And that was basically it.
I'm trying to ask if your BS meter was starting to be triggered throughout the course of this exchange. That's my question.
I guess.
It was.
Sure.
Okay. So, therefore, you did discern that this man to whom you were speaking, this man that you were interviewing, not interrogating, may be taking you for a ride. Right? That's the ding, ding, ding part that you
I don't know if, like I said, I was at that point, he was a victim. I had no reason to believe otherwise. We were basically trying to narrow down the location. I also understand that being shot at is a traumatic experience based on what he's saying, and that's why we had him. He was transported to the scene to see if we can narrow down the location. I don't know.
Okay. So it would be fair to say that your BS meter did not go off, and you did not form the impression that he was being evasive in the manner in which he was answering your questions in the tape that we all just heard.
Well, there are some things that that's why I asked them, trying to gauge whether one of the questions that I asked him was, if you knew who did this, would you tell me? To see his response. So I guess if you want to call that a BS meter or whatever, I'm just trying to gauge if he's being truthful with me, if he's hiding something. I asked him all sorts of questions, whether it was a drug deal, whether he had a beef with someone on 75, all kinds of questions, trying to gauge what could have happened. We're also trying to find out why it happened and any other things that he might be leaving out. Sometimes it's, like I said, a shooting is a traumatic thing, and
Fair to say, sometimes when you leave out information, it's inadvertent, and sometimes it's deliberate.
correct, and we have to explore that.
And you were trying to figure out which one.
Correct.
But you drew no conclusions throughout the course of the...
Later we did. Later when we didn't find anything, and when we saw the video, we knew that where he told us it happened, it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, you perceived him to be scared because you suggested maybe you're scared. Is that what you had perceived? Or did you perceive him to just be evasive? Which one? Or neither?
I didn't draw a conclusion. I'm trying to ask him questions, again, to have him open up, see what could be him being hesitant, or if he's leaving something out, or just exploring different avenues.
Okay. What about the part when he told you that he didn't have a phone? Did that seem curious to you?
Actually, I didn't even think about it, but now it sounds kind of weird, but I didn't even think about it at the time.
You know anybody without a phone? It's not living under a bridge.
No.
So at that time, this information, this indication, this loud indication that maybe he is deceiving you, it didn't occur to you now, but upon reflection, you would say that it's now occurring to you, now that I put the question.
It's easy to Monday morning quarterback when you have a lot of time. We're in the middle. My goal at that time was to find out the location, okay, so that we can look for evidence and jurisdiction. Those were the two main things at that time. And then obviously why, and get some background information as to why it could happen and things like that.
I understand that, and just to further your analogy, I would submit that during the process of this exchange, when somebody tells you, an adult male tells you, I don't have a phone, that being curious is not Monday morning quarterback. That's like missing somebody wide open in the end zone, right?
Sustained.
But it didn't occur to you.
No, really at that time, it wasn't maybe later on it could have been something that Detective Moretti would have considered, but at that time, like I told you, what my priorities were, at least for me.
I noticed you mentioned Detective Moretti. It's not something that would have occurred to you. Was it fair to say that Detective Moretti was the one making the investigative decisions on the case?
I called him to be the lead detective because we had, like I stated earlier, we had an agreement between the homicide detectives. I was 2 years left before it was almost 2 years exactly to the time to retire. So the agreement was that if I got called out, the other guys in the homicide unit would take over the investigation and that I would assist to avoid exactly me having to come back.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
It didn't work out.
Sorry about that. But you're not suggesting that the fact that you weren't lead meant that if your investigative instincts suggested that certain actions be taken, that you wouldn't suggest that to Moretti. You're not saying that.
Again, I don't know how many times I'm going to explain it. To me, at that point, we were trying to find out the location and try and get some historic and stuff like that.
Okay, no, we're past the phone thing. I'm just saying, as a general concept, your perception of your role vis-a-vis Detective Moretti's wouldn't be because he's the lead that if something occurred to you, you would not convey it to him. You wouldn't keep it to yourself. You'd convey it to him.
We would discuss.
Okay. So, there came a point later where you took Mr. Cortlen Henry, or at least Detective Moretti did, out to the scene. So there would be no mistake as to where he said that, right?
Detective Moretti and Detective Toyota drove me to the scene.
So now we don't have the possible disconnect between what he's describing and what you perceived. Now he's saying it happened in this location, wherever it is that he took you, right?
You would have to ask Detective Moretti what was discussed. They just told me, I believe it was like in the area of the 163rd and Miramar Parkway, but we started, like I said, on 160th and proceeded westbound.
And law enforcement exerted a lot of effort, searched there, found nothing.
Correct.
Now you know this guy is not telling you the truth, I'm sure, right?
Well, at least that it didn't happen there.
Okay. So at least he's not telling you the truth as to the location of the incident, right?
Correct.
And he told you where he lived. I think early on in the transcript, he told you the address on 44th Street, right?
Yes, sir.
And it occurred to you, of course, that maybe we should go and execute a search warrant on that location just to make sure that we are investigating the possible people that are involved. Did that occur to you at the time?
No, I didn't do a search warrant in that location.
Well, I know you did. I'm asking whether it occurred to you that you should have.
No.
And based upon your being in and around Moretti, you never heard him suggest maybe we go do that.
In order to get a search warrant, you have to have probable cause that a crime was committed there. And at this point, we had no evidence that the crime was committed at the house to get a search warrant.
You need evidence, probable cause to determine that a crime was committed at the house, or you needed probable cause to determine that possible evidence of a crime may be retrieved from that location.
Correct. Yes. Yes to both of those.
Right. And so the gentleman who shows up at the hospital telling lies with two deceased people in his car, it doesn't occur to you that the place he goes directly next might be a source for you to find evidence, right?
We had no evidence that he went to the house.
Where'd he go?
According to him, to the hospital.
Where'd he go after that?
I have no idea.
Would that have been a concern?
We went to different areas.
Huh?
We went to other places. No, we didn't go there.
Okay. So, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you now have somebody who has presented himself with two dead bodies, lied to law enforcement, had a long interview where he's taking you around in circles and being evasive, and where he leaves, and you know.
Objection, counsel testifying and asked to answer.
Sustained. Rephrase your question.
Okay. Didn't occur to you to search, to track where he may be going and conduct a search warrant because it might be fruitful?
No.
At the time that somebody, at least, determined that Cortlen Henry may have been involved in this tragedy, you were already off the case?
I believe I already testified to my involvement in it, so that the items that we covered was my involvement in the case, period.
Okay. So as you recall, at the time that you disengaged from further involvement in the case, Cortlen Henry had not yet been identified as a potential suspect. If you recall.
No.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. Sir, the location that Cortlen Henry identified as his residence was also the place he identified as the residence of the two victims.
Yes, sir.
And that didn't trigger you to think maybe to search that location either?
No.
Okay. Tell me again about Walmart. Do you remember what Cortlen Henry told you about Walmart?
He described some incident at Walmart.
And the reason that you were asking him, I think explicitly, was that you were trying to determine whether or not there could be any other people who may have had a motive to engage in the offense.
Correct?
And he told you about an altercation that took place at Walmart.
Yes, sir.
And you know, of course, that Walmart has surveillance tapes.
Yes, sir.
And so, when did you go and retrieve those tapes?
I don't know if Detective Murray did.
If you were making the call, would you have done so?
I don't know if there was no connection to it at the time. I don't know if I would have or would not.
Because you do realize you asked him that very question for that very reason.
He also said that there was nothing to it, that as best as I recall,
He said the beef was squashed.
it was, yes.
So you said, okay, well, and then that settles it.
Well, I didn't say anything. I thought,
And you didn't do it.
I didn't know.
That completes your cross-examination, counsel?
I think so, sir, but I'm being vacant. Remember the reference to a guy named Bentley in the statement? That there was a beef with a guy named Bentley? You don't recall?
No.
Okay. Because we listened to the statement earlier, and that statement said the beef was squashed with Bentley. It didn't say that the beef was squashed with the Walmart people. Right?
I don't recall.
Okay. But you just know that you didn't go and check up on either one.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing further.
Counsel, is there any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Detective Bertrand, does surveillance footage exist forever?
No.
Is there a retention time frame in which you have to be able to go to whatever location to retrieve it?
In most cases, from a week or two to 30 days max.
Did Mr. Henry give you any more idea of a time frame as to when this Walmart incident happened?
If he did, it's contained. I don't recall at this moment.
Counsel asked you a lot about getting a search warrant for the house.
Correct.
Do you have any information whatsoever that would lead you to believe the defendant, Mr. Demons, or Mr. Henry had been at the house?
No.
Where did all the investigation point to they had been?
In the car.
With regards to the recording studio, did you go there and retrieve the evidence from that location of the
Yes.
video? No. And you get a warrant just based on belief,
No.
on a hope and a prayer?
No.
What do you need?
You need probable cause and evidence that items of the crime are there.
Did you have anything to base that on to go to a judge and ask for a search warrant at that time?
No.
Do you know how long the defendants lived there before they were evicted? If you don't know when they were evicted, that's
I
fine.
don't recall.
Counsel brought up a lot about Mr. Henry being evasive or not wanting to answer questions. You asked some questions of him. Did you think he was going to try and exact street justice?
Repeat that again, I'm sorry?
Did you think Mr. Henry was going to
Objection
try
to the leading.
I don't know about leading. Sustain the objection.
with regards to the questions you asked of Mr. Henry, did you ask if he was going to take any actions into his own hands?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
This witness excused?
Yes, sir.
Well done. Thank you, sir. You may step
Thank
down.
you.
You're excused. Who's your next witness, guy?
Morgan Curry.
Outside.
Yes, sir.
Bring in Morgan Curry, please.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Are you Morgan Curry? Well, this is our witness stand. We're going to come up here. When you get to the stand, you put your things down, but just remain standing. Thank you. Raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please state your full legal name for the record.
Morgan Curry,
Please spell your first and last name for the record.
MORGANCURRY.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Madam, that microphone will adjust up or down, not back and forth. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
The counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Curry. How are you today?
Good afternoon.
Where do you currently work?
With the Naval Criminal Investigative Service,
What do you do for the Naval Criminal Investigative Service?
I conduct criminal felony investigations, also hold arrest authority.
And in terms of your job description, what area or specialization do you?
Yes, so specialize in cold cases as well as in forensic consultant for the Naval Criminal Investigative Service.
What does that mean to be a forensic consultant for the Naval Criminal Investigative Service?
Yes. Handle any type of forensic expertise or crime scene processing.
Okay, and the crime scene processing that you do, what types of training and experience do you have to do that from NCIS? And not the TV show, just to be clear.
Correct. Received over 210 hours of formal training in crime scene processing and documentation, to also include photography, the collection of evidence, the processing of evidence, collection of DNA, fingerprinting, various other forensic principles. I also received a bachelor's degree prior to NCIS, but specifically within NCIS, just a formal training of documenting and collecting evidence.
Prior to working for NCIS, where were you employed?
With the Miramar Police Department.
How many years were you with the Miramar Police Department?
About 4 years.
And the 4 years that you were there with Miramar, what different job titles did you hold?
Started out as a evidence and property custodian for 2 years, and then was promoted to a crime scene technician for 2 years.
And so what were your job description as an evidence custodian?
Evidence custodian, so collecting as well as storing any type of incoming evidence or property for the department.
Okay, and then once you were promoted to crime scene technician, how did your job description change?
It included the same responsibilities as the evidence and property custodian, but it changed a bit as far as going out to various scenes to collect, process, as well as document or photograph crime scenes.
Did you take classes or trainings?
Yes, I did.
And so what ones did you take at Miramar Police Department?
Specifically at Miramar, completed a 16-week on-the-job training with crime scene documentation, as well as photography and other crime scene principle training, and then also throughout my employment there within the 2 years, just continued with additional advanced trainings.
Okay. You mentioned that you had a bachelor's degree as well. What was that in?
Also in forensics with a minor in anthropology.
And where did you get that?
Florida Gulf Coast University.
And what year?
2014.
Did you also obtain a master's degree?
Yes, I did.
And in 2017, where did you obtain your master's degree from?
From Nova Southeastern University.
And in what field of study?
Department of Homeland Security was the concentration, but it was the degree was titled National Security Affairs.
With regards to your involvement in this case, on October 26th of 2018, you became involved in the investigation regarding Miramar case number 18-10-020629, sir. And what was your job description for this case?
I was a crime scene technician in this case.
Were you the only crime scene technician?
No, there were several others.
So walk the ladies and gentlemen jury through how you first became involved.
First involvement was contacted by our dispatch unit to respond to assist with processing the scene.
And when you are contacted, are you at home? Are you on shift?
I would have to refer back to my report to specifically know for this case, but normally what happens is either contacted by phone and or if we're on our radio, we're contacted by via radio.
Do you respond directly to the hospital in this case?
Yes, I did.
What is the first thing you do when you get to the hospital?
Meeting with the detective that's on scene, if they're on scene, and or the lead officer that's there to debrief on whatever my assistance is needed for.
Okay, and so what tasks were you assigned once you spoke with the officers and detectives on scene?
I was specifically tasked with photographing and documenting the individuals that were there at the hospital.
When you say the individuals that were they living or deceased?
Deceased.
Did you have any involvement or contact with Cortlen Henry, who would be a living individual?
Not to my knowledge.
Did you have any contact with the defendant in this case, Jamell Demons?
No.
So I'm going to start and go through when you're documenting the scene at the hospital. How do you do that?
First starts with speaking with the detective or officer that's there to kind of brief on the case. Then from there we start with photography. It would also include photographing the scene, photographing the important information and or evidence, documenting via notes, so taking notes as far as address, other pertinent information, and then also if there's collection of evidence, just making sure that you document what evidence you're collecting and transporting it appropriately.
In terms of the number of photographs that you take, I'm not asking you exactly how many, but how is it? Voluminous?
Could you use a different word?
Sure. Do you take a bunch of them?
Yes. Yes.
Is there any particular pattern that you do when you're taking these photographs?
Yes. So we start with overalls. So that just includes an overall depiction of the scene to include, again, addresses or any type of location information that there is there. And then we move into mid-ranges. So if there's any specific mid-ranges that ties what you're focusing on in your scene to specific pieces of evidence, you would start there. And then if there is something that needs a close-up photograph, we then move into close-ups.
And do you follow that same process, whether you're documenting a person, a place, or a thing?
That is correct.
In this case, you mentioned collecting evidence. Can you describe to ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you do when you're collecting a piece of evidence?
When you're collecting a piece of evidence, you would start initially by documenting it with notes, and then from there photographing it, and then if there's photographing it in that same sequence. So overall is where it's located, mid-range, and then close-ups. After that, you would then collect it and bag it appropriately to be transported from the scene.
Okay, so I want to go back now. When you're collecting it, what do you do to ensure there's no contamination of the evidence?
So we always make sure to have PPE, personal protection equipment. So that includes things like gloves, masks, face mask if needed, a tie-bed suit, which would be kind of like a coverall suit to protect your clothing, and or to protect the specific pieces of evidence to be contaminated with the items on your clothing. And so then from there we would bag them into specific pieces of bagging materials. It could be paper, it could be plastic.
So, investigator Curry, is there a reason why paper bags were used or plastic bags were used?
Yes, so we use paper because it is a porous material, meaning a breathable material. Any type of biohazard evidence that you're collecting should be in a porous material, some type of paper material so that it can breathe, so that it's not contaminated with mold or other bacterial items.
So if items are damp or moist or wet in any way, how do you deal with that as a crime scene technician?
Yep, so we do have sterilized dryers. So any type of items that are wet at the time, we do transport them in that paper, that breathable material, and then from there it goes over to our drying chamber to be dried.
After they are dried, do you package them again?
Correct. After they're dried, they are packaged in that paper material.
And with regards to our courtroom presentation, are there occasions in which the clothing is placed between clear plastic to make it easier to handle and deal with in court?
Correct.
Okay. So I'm going to start. I'm going to approach here.
Can we approach very briefly?
Yes.
Sorry.
I don't know why they make that loud noise instead of just like blurring it out. I don't know why they have to do that noise. So I do have his arrest record thanks to Crystal. I don't know what's in this evidence bag. I also don't know why they need 50 lawyers up there at the same time.
Says, do not discuss the case, don't form any opinion about the case, don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence, certainly no research, just leave your notepads on your chairs. Thank you.
All right, Dayton. Oh, Dayton. Hang on.
Thank you. Let the record reflect the jury stepped down. Counsel remain along with the defendant. Defendant, you need your restroom break? Nope, you're good? All right. Counsel, just so you know, sometimes when I put the waiting ways on, we have a conversation, you're not facing me, I can't hear what you're going on. That's what I just said. Not offended in any way, just couldn't hear. Okay. All right. No, it's no problem. We're in recess.
Appreciate it.
Dayton, you want me to drop you a link or do you want to come in here? Your choice. All right. Well. I do hate rap music. Just send me a link. Okay. Hang on. Oh. All right. Dinner in the kitchen, naked with the fog type. I'm telling you. All right, now we'll get some inside scoop. Because you guys know I fucking hate trials. I think they are so boring. Hit that thumbs up. Dun, dun, dun. All right. While I'm waiting for Dayton, I'm going to show you guys something. Hold on. There he is. What's up, kiddo? Where you at? You should have come on stream. What happened? I'm adding you. It's not doing anything. Where you at?
All right, hello.
There you are.
My microphone is set up, right?
Oh. What's up, kiddo?
What's up?
All right. Why? How come you're not showing on screen though? Oh, there you are. Oh, all right. I see. It's the way I have it set up. All right. So you don't know what happened with? For those of you guys that don't know, this is Dayton, my son. He came in here at the end of my other stream, the end of my last stream, and he said, "Mom, are you covering this case?" I said, "What case?" Said he told me about it, and I said, "No, never even heard about it." So that's how this came to be. So then he was like, "No, you got to cover it, blah, blah, blah." So here we are. So I don't know anything about this case, but he seems to know a lot about it. So enlighten us.
What do you want to know about it?
Whatever you got.
I don't know like a lot, but like I could tell you like the basics of it.
Okay. Was he a big rapper?
Huge, huge. He had multiple songs blow up, mostly 2018, 2019.
Okay.
Biggest song that probably blew up was called "Murder on My Mind." And that was a song that was a part of his IMU album.
Okay.
And that and Mama Cry. Those two were big songs. One of them was talking about him being in jail, and then one of them was about him murdering somebody. So the murder song called "Murder on My Mind" that was used in the first, not like trial, but that was used in the first case when he was first brought up. There was 70 pages of evidence against him, 70 pages.
Okay.
And that was the biggest thing, was that song, because that song completely tells the entire story of how he killed him, when he killed him, how it all went down, etc. That song alone has like 900 million streams on Spotify.
Okay. Should I play the song with lyrics so we're all up to date?
I mean, you can. I wouldn't recommend it.
Why?
Probably because you're going to get copyrighted and because it is a very graphic song. I mean, you can still play it. I mean, you can.
All right.
It's not that bad, but
I just kind of feel like we need to be up to like saying that it's a song is different than actually hearing it.
hear it then.
All right.
Listen to it. It's called "Murder on My Mind."
I know. I'm
It's
gonna
on
play it with
YouTube.
lyrics. Hold on. So then we're all like up to date. Okay. Now, honestly, though, that could go for any single person that's sitting in jail for murder, and there's plenty of them.
So the biggest part of this thing was that the song was released before it happened, but it wasn't, or it was released like supposedly before it happened, but apparently it was written, or apparently the dude died long before it was like confirmed. I guess I don't know if that's 100% true, but what I do know is the song was seen as a confession song. Seen as a confession song, listened to as a rap song. Now, don't get me wrong, I I don't hate the song, and I remember like when it first came out, it was really, really, really big. Not like I said, 900 million or listens are on it. It's a huge song, but a lot of his songs like mixed personalities. Now the biggest part about that song was the part I mentioned earlier about the dude Melvin. So if you look at the actual stream, you'll see people saying it was Melvin, not Melly, or Free Melvin. So Melly, apparently people saw him having two sides. One was called Melvin, one was called Melly. Melvin was like the murder side of him. So that was a side that normally like was considered to sing all these songs, almost like multiple personality disorder. Two different personalities. One of them was the murderous, side of him. Then the other side of him was the rapper side. And you can listen to a lot of songs like 223's Suicidal, Mama Cry. All those songs are supposedly considered confession songs. But at the same time, they're not, because they were never listened to that way. The only song that was considered an actual confession song was Murder on My Mind, because he literally explains how supposedly he killed somebody.
Has he been? It'll come out at trial, but is there any proof that he is schizophrenic or has different personalities?
I don't know if there is real proof. I'm not 100% sure about that. I've heard about it being real, and I've also heard about it not being real, but it's very hard to decide based off of music, because he's been locked up for 5 years or 4 years. But after the song dropped and the people were found dead, he was immediately thrown in jail. That's when he was found 70. If you go back to like 2018, you could find, like, if you go on like YouTube, TikTok, or anything, or like YouTube Shorts, you can find videos of people saying, yeah, Melly's done. They got 70 pages of evidence on him. You could find that a while ago, from like 2018, 2019, because it was kind of big, but not really. Like, people knew about it, but at the same time, hold on.
Ale, do I need to be live for that? Yeah. Dane, do you have to be live to get bits on Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to be live for that, Ale. So I guess I'll go live later. You can give me all the thingies. All the bits. All right.
Hold on.
All right, so while you're doing that, these are the lyrics that he's talking about. Yellow tape around his body. It's a fucking homicide. His face is on a t-shirt, and his
Okay,
homicide.
so I'm guessing you don't know what his face is on a t-shirt means, right?
It means that he's a rapper.
No.
What?
So nowadays, when you put someone on a t-shirt, that means you killed them. Their mom made a t-shirt with their face on it, and that's what that means. That you killed somebody. So, like, for example, say I died. You would make a t-shirt with my face on it. And that's what his face is on a t-shirt, and his family's traumatized. So when it says his family's traumatized, his family made a t-shirt with his face on it, and they're traumatized that they died.
Oh. I didn't even mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back, and shot him twice. But is that how this person died?
That's what they don't know, because in the actual trial case, there's the reason that the song can't be used in trial against him is because of that. They don't know, because the song was dropped before, but the thing about the song or the current case is that it was 2 people dead, YNW Juvy and YNW Sakchaser. Both of them, and this only talks about one person dying and that he killed him. But the thing is that it was taken supposedly in a wilderness area. Is supposedly when the song took place. Like he wrote this and rapped it about the time. Supposedly he confessed to shooting somebody in a wilderness area and killed him. And then later on, it goes to show him like the family wearing T-shirts of his face. That's correlating back to that.
All right, so let me ask you though, couldn't this be like
Unrelated, yes.
no, like Tupac? He's talking about Tupac or Biggie Smalls or any of them that got killed by, you know, former friends or gang members. I mean, this could apply to anybody though.
That's why it can't be used on trial against him. It's because there's not enough to show that it's against the YNW Bortlen, YNW Sakchaser, and Juvy.
Okay.
There's no that's why it's not being used. They went from 70 pages to I think about 34 to 38 pages of evidence, which is still a lot. Like I said, it's either death row or he gets sent home. Those are the only two options. He's not going back to jail.
Is he in a gang?
Yeah, YNW is a gang.
Okay. So if he's in a gang, then that makes even more sense. You killing your own gang member, which would make perfect sense for the song. Like, I'm just looking for proof that the song was an actual confession, and it could go for anything, especially if
but that's why it can't be used. There's not enough to show who it's
doesn't
about.
mean they won't try though.
Oh, of course not. But it's most likely that the song is completely unrelated, and that the song is meant just to be a song, and not meant if you look at he has an album. It's called Melly versus Melvin. If you look at that, you'll see the picture. You'll see Melly, and then you'll see Melvin. It's the same person, but they look different. So one side of him has the teardrop on his eye, and he's angry. His hair's down. He looks like he wants to kill. Then the left side of him, the Melly side, happy rapper side. That's the biggest part of Melly, is that supposedly he has two different sides. And that's the thing.
All right. Debut album released November 22nd of 2019. Atlantic Records. Includes the single Slock 9. Released August 9th. Suicidal released March 13th. So he became a star and automatically got arrested.
Pretty much. He blew up, but he was arrested towards, I guess the end. But yeah. He was a star.
Thank you, Good Vibes. Good Vibes donated 10 over on Kick. Thank you so much, hon. The case is in Florida.
Yeah, it happened all in Florida.
Let's see. He had a lot of songs. Bang Bang. All right. So he went as high as number 3 on. Here, let me show you guys this.
Yeah, he was trending top 5 for music.
Oh, by the way, subscribers on Kick. Turquoise 1, Lisa Kleckner, No Legal, Twisted Chaos, Honeybee, Beige Pandy, Stacy Love, Miss Good Trouble, Pywakin, and Lindsay all got gifted a membership subscription on Kick. And I will. Let me just finish this. Hold on. Hold on. Where am I? All right. Oh. All right. He went as high as gold, which isn't that great, but he went as high as gold. He went as high as 3 on the R&B hip hop albums. In 2020, it was U.S. Billboard 104. Hip hop albums 46. He did fairly well. All right. Melly versus. So they're saying Melvin killed him. Melly is innocent, right?
Yeah, basically. But you also like you can't go off of different personalities. Honestly, I don't know. I think he's innocent. I don't think there's enough based off what I know to say that he killed 2 people. But
So now, was there a previous trial?
I actually don't know. I was told there was, and I heard that there was, but it was so discreet that I don't even know.
All right. Well, this is what we have. Hold on. So he was arrested in 2019.
Yeah.
I knew he was short. He
It's
looked
arrested after his Melly vs. Melvin album came out.
All right. So he was arrested on February 13th of 2019. Jamell Demons. Can't make him. Vero Beach. Birthday is 5/1/99. He was arrested at 19 years old. Broward County. No bond. Murder in the first degree. 2 counts. Premeditated murder in the first degree. That's sad. 19 years old. He's still a kid.
Yeah.
That sucks, man. He had his whole life ahead of him.
Yeah. Some way to look at it. But even if you listen, like a lot of his persona was based off of Two-Face. Melly and Melvin, Two-Faced.
Yeah, but that, I mean, granted, I don't know anything about this, but I mean, that's just an image. Like, that's just his niche in the market. Doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's kind of,
I know. I'm just saying.
when I was your age, you know who Ozzy Osbourne is? Black Sabbath.
No.
You're not my child. So Ozzy Osbourne, when I was growing up, there was this big thing that that Ozzy Osbourne used to eat bats' heads off. And he would cause kids to have suicide. He would cause kids with his songs to make people drink and all this crazy stuff and the age of Satanism. And at the end of the day, it was just a gimmick. So that's why I think like maybe this is just a gimmick. Yeah, his last name is Demons.
It's not pronounced that way. It's Demons.
Demons? I say demons.
I bet you do, but it's pronounced Demons.
Demons.
His name is Jamell Demons.
Jamell Demons. So that's what I think. I mean, it could be totally just a gimmick and mean absolutely nothing, and people looking into something that doesn't exist.
He could also be on trial for nothing, in that the murder is completely unrelated to him. Because if you look more into it, if you literally it was supposedly used. YNW Bortlen helped him do the kill. It could be completely fake for all we know.
Hold on. All right, let's see. Florida rapper accused of killing 2 friends. And what's the motive? Why did he want to kill his friends?
I don't know.
Well, there has to be
all that. I mean, motive to killing his friends. I mean, he mentions snitching. I mean, it could definitely be a snitch move. That's a big thing in nowadays. I'm sure you've heard the term "snitches get stitches."
Of course.
But now snitching is like such a thing. Like snitching is like snitching's like asking to get beat up. You know what I mean? Like, say I was at school and someone threatened to fight me, or was like, let's fight. If I snitched, I am now on a hit list to be jumped for snitching, and I'm now considered a snitch. Now, I'm not saying they did snitch, this and that. I'm just saying what snitching is and what it can do.
Mhm.
They could have known something and could have planned on snitching. I mean, you could use a rapper, for example, like 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine was involved in or not involved, but there was a shooting going on that he was not really a part of, but he lost his sentence because he snitched on the people who did it or like put him up to it and whatnot. He got out and then they got arrested. Now, not only does he get considered a snitch, but that is his title forever. And he was a decently popular rapper before that.
Mhm. And that is
But
true, though. Once you're an informant or a snitch, you'll be labeled that forever.
yeah, you don't lose that title.
I agree.
And
It's
you're also now not trusted. So you can't earn your respect back. You lose it permanently.
all right. U.S. rapper YNW Melly has been arrested. This was from 2019, murdering two other rappers, both said to have been his childhood friends in Florida. Police say the rapper named Jamell Demons conspired with another man to make the two male victims look like they had died in a drive-by shooting. Before his arrest, he said on social media that lies were being told about the shootings. The rapper 19 has worked with music artists such as Kanye West, which I wouldn't brag about these days. Miramar Police Department announced that the murder charges against him on social media, saying that Mr. Demons had been arrested for murder alongside another man, Cortlen Henry, who uses a rap name YNW Bortlen. Who is he on trial too?
Wait, what?
Cortlen Henry, who
Bortlen?
Cortlen, yeah, Bortlen.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't think so.
All right. The victims, Christopher Thomas Jr. and Anthony Williams, are both rappers from the same Florida-based crew. Both died of multiple gunshot injuries on October 26th. Police allege Mr. Demons shot both men and conspired alongside Mr. Henry to stage a crime to make it appear as they were killed by other people. They say Mr. Henry drove both shooting victims to a local hospital at 4:35 local time where they were declared dead. Police allege Mr. Henry's version of events was inconsistent with evidence, including forensics. Both of the victims feature in a documentary about Mr. Demons on his YouTube channel, where they're described as his childhood friends. Oh, there's a documentary on. He has a YouTube channel,
YNW Melly? Yeah.
and there's a documentary on it.
I did not know that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
After their October deaths, representative for the rapper said he's sad. He's quite upset, obviously. They were his best friends. Before turning himself in on Wednesday, he told his 1 million followers on Instagram that a lot of rumors and lies are being said about the shootings, and he included the hashtag #FreeUs. The rapper appeared in court on Thursday and was ordered to be held in jail without bail. Mr. Henry was reportedly arrested in Texas last month and extradited to Florida. Florida-based rapper, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Demons was arrested several times before, including last month for pot possession. Yeah, one of his best-known tracks is a song called Murder on My Mind, which has 90 million views on YouTube. The lyrics include a graphic narrative detailing an imagined fatal shooting. Interesting.
Thing is that like it's kind of crazy because you could look at a lot of rappers like TK, Lock 9, like a lot of people who are like involved in stuff, but a lot of it doesn't add up because I mean TK was put in jail due to like I don't even know why. I don't think TK did what he did. TK is another American rapper. Also allegedly shot somebody, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Pretty sure he sentenced to 55 years in prison due to rap trap guilty murder. I don't honestly think he did it.
So why'd he turn himself in if he didn't do it?
Who, Melly?
Yeah.
Well, you got to realize anything could happen because Melly wasn't in power of YNW, I'm guessing. Because YNW is kind of like a bigger thing, I'd say. There's a lot more people to it. He's not top of the power of it. Now, I'm not saying that is it at all. But I mean, he could have like just turned himself in because he was told to. Who knows? I don't. But I mean, it's kind of just a weird thing.
all right, this was said. Henry gave a statement to police after the slayings, but authorities said that their investigation did not match the information he gave them. Under further investigation, supported by forensic evidence, concluded that Demons shot and killed Williams and Thomas, and that Demons and Henry staged the crime scene to resemble a drive-by shooting, police said in February. The notice to seek the death penalty against Demons was filed Tuesday. Prosecutors have now filed similar paperwork against Henry, who was also charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Demons, who released the songs Melly the Menace and Murder on My Mind, addressed the murders in an Instagram post. I want you guys to know I love you and appreciate every single one of y'all. A couple of months ago, I lost my 2 brothers by violence, and now the system want to find justice, he wrote. Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being said, but no worries, God is with me and my brother. Demons, who is out on bond, entered a not guilty plea last month. The lawyer for Demons did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, though, that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried blaming it on him. Because that's what they do.
Yeah, but like I said, I think they should not. Like I said, it's good that they're not able to use his music against him. So I think that's bullshit. Personally, I don't think music that you make, because that means that you could look at every single modern day American rapper and you could throw all of them in trial.
You could do it with rock too, but I agree with you.
I don't think that makes any sense. You should not be convicted because of the music you make. You could literally, at that point, they should just arrest every rapper. Because literally 50 pages of their evidence was all from his music, but his music should not count at all. So get rid of that, and they don't have a lot. But their lawyers, like Melly's lawyers, have good evidence that that is him. They have good evidence that it wasn't him.
Art shouldn't be used against. I agree with that. But it goes back to, for anyone that's my age, back in the 80s and I think early 90s, every single day there was a talk show host that focused on Marilyn Manson, Ozzy Osbourne, all the hard rock groups. They were devil worshippers. They were Satanists. There's a huge case, West Memphis 3. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but they're now out of jail, but they went to jail. One of them was on death row for 10 years because of music and Satanism, because they were into heavy metal music and they were into quote unquote satanic music. So they were blamed for these 3 kids being brutally murdered. And it happened a lot in the 80s and 90s. And this is just a rap version of that. The hip hop version of what went on back then. I can't believe you don't know who Ozzy Osbourne is. Your father's turning over in his grave.
I can't believe I'm not as old as you.
What?
Does it make sense if I said I can't believe I'm not as old as you?
Shut up. No, I just can't believe you don't know Ozzy Osbourne. Even Grandma knows Ozzy Osbourne.
Grandma's like 60.
Grandma's older than that.
Exactly. So of course she does. Beginners could all be in trouble. Yeah, I agree. I think it's stupid if you can use their music creative expression against them. I agree. That's why they can't use it though. They're not allowed to use it on trial. That's already been confirmed.
Oh, has it?
Yeah. Melly's lawyer went on Instagram and said they can't use any of the music because they can't use his expression against him on trial for something that was unrelated.
I agree with that. All rappers have seen others in prison for crime that evidence that from music was used. I guess the judge ruled against it, though. A rising Florida rapper mourned the deaths of his brothers.
But it also doesn't make sense because you could use somebody like King Von, for example. King Von wrote music about killing people. Like, I mean, you could listen to any of his songs. Took Her to the O. Hold on. Crazy Story Part 1, Part 3. All of those songs, Part 2. The Code, Still Trappin', all those songs literally talk about, like, for example, I can give you a great example, actually. Took Her to the O, for example, is a great example of this. You listen to the lyrics, talks about buying a Glock, and then he meets up with some girl. Dude pulls up, like some random dude pulls up, doesn't know who he is. And then he goes at him, threw a brick at his car, got out the car, raised his gun, shot him twice, left him on the curb. That is examples of his music.
Willow said no, they used music and who's YSL? I think Yves Saint Laurent.
The YSL case.
Yeah.
YSL was YSL Rico. I'm guessing he's talking about. He's fucking. He was arrested for like I don't even remember. It was kind of a while ago.
Music lyrics were not taken out of YSL trial.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. That I know of, they can't use the music. Because that's what Melly's lawyer said publicly.
Okay.
That they're not allowed to use the music against him because of the date in which it took place. But like I said, you look at King Von's lyrics. King Von did pass away a few years ago, so he is dead. But even he was alive before he made that song. But it still doesn't make sense because that song literally talks about shooting a guy twice and then leaving him on a curb. So that's like a good example of why music shouldn't be used against you, because just because it may have happened or may not have happened, you're not going to know because it's through music and not like actual proof. It's just music.
And I agree, but it's been used for years.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's bullshit.
Personally. I agree. We've been saying that and to clear it up, West Memphis 3 were in jail for 19 years, but I think he did 10 on death row. Yeah, people have been blamed for music for a long time.
Yeah, but that's why I'm saying I don't think it makes sense because it's not like right. Because then at that point, just go ahead and arrest every rapper. You know, it doesn't make sense. So I think Melly's innocent. I think he's completely being wrongly accused, personally. Now, could he have had a part in it? I doubt. I don't know. That's not for me to say. But I think he's innocent. All
right, Dane, hold on. Willow said just because the lawyer said they can't use the music, that's not what the judge.
Yeah, not what the judges said. But if you look at what the detective said when he was brought up to whatever it's called, like the chair, whatever it's used, like the chair that the prosecution sits in.
Oh, okay. Prosecution.
The prosecution. He mentions all of his evidence, but he doesn't mention the music. Now, does that mean anything? No, but the detective is the biggest part of the song because he was the witness who found the two dead. And he didn't mention the music when he was listing his evidence and explaining why he thinks he is.
You mean opening statements?
Opening statements when he was literally just on trial. It was the lawyer versus the detective. The lawyer was asking the prosecution questions, a lot of them, and wrong, like sometimes, answering them kind of faintly. Kind of like, almost like, if you look at, like, for example, like answering them faintly. If you remember the Johnny Depp case, you remember how Amber Heard was answering them, like, barely?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like that. Now, Willie, you are right. He did say at the beginning of trial, he did say, I did that shit. But it doesn't know what they were talking about. He said he did it, but that isn't 100% like, I guess, factual because nobody really heard it, and it was like people are saying he said it. But also he could have been talking to somebody else, and it's taken out of context. Because, I mean, it just happens a lot now. Just taking anything out of context, and you don't know conversation
all the time.
So, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything with that. Like I said, I think he's innocent. But it's kind of just a stupid case, honestly.
Don't say it. Now it's a stupid case. You gave us all into it. Now you're saying it's a stupid case?
No, I mean like the way they're going at it is stupid.
It seems pretty standard.
Exactly, it's stupid. Trying to use his music against him. I think that's dumb.
So now it seems there's a hoax that he's dead or something.
Everyone is saying R.I.P. Melly. It's not a hoax. It's just saying, you know, he's fucked. He's not making it out of this. Like I said, if he loses his trial, he goes to death row. Like he's done.
Rapper's mother took to her Instagram account on April 11th to announce that his son's trial begins on June 5th. Latest updates. Black Room Media announced on the rapper's trial start June 20th.
You might want to look at the stream. Looks like they're looking at evidence.
What?
Looks like they're looking at evidence on their stream.
What are you talking about?
On the stream, they're like taking out bags of stuff.
On the trial?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I didn't know it started again. All right. See, they got 65,000 people watching.
Those are all teenagers. Free Melly. Y'all are so negative. Free Melly. Stop saying RIP, he's not dead. Is this Riz? You know, will LeBron's legacy be affected? These are all teenagers making jokes.
That's loud.
But I'm probably gonna get off with this case now, cause yeah.
What do you mean you're getting off this case now?
I'm not a part of this. This is you. This is what you do, not me.
All day.
Huh?
You've been following all day.
I was only telling you about giving you backstory. I think you got it down now.
We got it.
All right, good.
Thank you, kiddo.
Yep.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Ooh, did you guys hear that? I got an I love you right on YouTube.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, okay. That's on the internet forever. Ouch, that's too loud.
Here. Here. Here.
Thank you. And investigators are now approaching what has been previously marked as State's P and shown to defense counsel. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
Additional clothing collected from the scene from Christopher Thomas.
And are these items still in the original packaging?
Yes, it is.
Is your seal still intact with your name, ID number?
Yes, it is.
No objection.
Here at this time, the state requesting the State's P in.
There's no objection, so they'll be admitted. How many items are in there, Counsel?
It's 2 black socks and 1 boxers.
They'll be admitted.
Thank you.
You can over as composite, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
State's P will be marked as a composite of 3 items.
And so once you collect the clothes, you indicated that you document them.
I will say Dayton did pretty damn good for a 15-year-old. I'm very impressed with him. He did great.
Now it's been previously shown to defense counsel and has been marked as State's Composite H of 1 USB and photographs for you to review. I'm going to show you the USB first. Investigator Curry, do you recognize that USB drive?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize that USB drive?
It has my initials on the back.
And is that fairly and accurately depict the photos that you took when processing and documenting the clothing and shoes of the victims in this case?
Yes, it is.
And the photographs here, are they fairly and accurately depict the same photographs that are on that USB drive?
Yes, it does.
Here at this time, the state would request the state deposit you in.
Any objection?
No objection. Again, on the same representation that we have not looked at the USB, but as long as the state represents that it's nothing but those photographs, we have no objection.
That's
That's
the state's
correct.
representation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
No
States
objection.
Q will be marked as state
They'll
17.
be admitted. Thank you.
And permission to publish, Your Honor?
Yes. How many photographs you said?
That I can tell you in just a moment. Investigator Curry, if you have the clothing, why is it important to document it at the time of collection?
To be able to document how they were received, as we weren't the individuals that collected the clothing from the deceased.
So on photograph number 1 under Anthony Williams, it has a G down here at the bottom of the photograph. Why is there a G?
It depicts the item letter that's assigned to the items.
Do you go through and assign a letter to each item that you're looking at?
Yes, each item that's collected receives a letter.
So going through on item G, and I believe there are 50 photographs, Your Honor, to answer your prior question. Why do you take photographs of each side of these shoes?
To accurately depict the entire item from various angles.
Okay. Again on item G. Moving on to item H. What, in terms of, is that the same that's been previously admitted into evidence? The black pants that we looked at first?
Yes, it is.
The contents of the pockets, why do you photograph it as such?
To be able to document what items are within the pockets, because they may not be visible
Okay.
as they are.
And now what are we looking at on item H? What view?
So the backside or the rear side of the jeans.
So this is still marked as item number, or letter H.
Yes.
What items were found inside item H?
These were the items that were derived from the black jeans.
Okay. Were those items collected and cataloged?
Yes.
Okay. With regards to the amount of currency that you're seeing right here, how much is that?
$97.
Council has been previously marked as states R. Investigator Curry, do you recognize this item?
Yes, I do.
It's been marked as states R for identification purposes. What is that?
It's a currency bag filled with the currency from the item H that was identified.
And is it in the same or potentially same condition as when you collected it on the day of processing?
Yes, it is.
Is it sealed with your name and ID still?
Yes, it is.
Is it verified by another individual as to the amount of the currency?
Yes, it is.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states R in.
Is there any objection?
No, sir.
It'll be admitted. Next series, what is that?
States R will be marked states 18.
Thank you.
On to what's been labeled here as states your Miramar item I, previously admitted into evidence, the boxers and the 2 socks.
That is correct.
Is this how you found them?
Yes.
Do you do any of the cutting of them when you receive them?
No, I do not.
Do you know who does?
Generally, medical staff.
What's item J?
picture of the jean jacket that was provided by medical staff of the deceased, or from the deceased.
With regards to this next photo of item J, there is an arrow indicating a circular area. Are you able to tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury if that is or is not a distressed portion of the jacket or is some sort of bullet defect?
Based on my experience in training, it appears to be something similar to a bullet hole.
Okay. With regards to the arrows, is that where you're putting those on there?
That is correct.
Moving on to the back of item J, is that how it looked when you collected it?
That is correct.
Based on your training and experience as a crime scene investigator, does the appearance of blood change over time as it's stored in evidence?
That is correct.
That's still the same jacket that we have in evidence.
That is correct.
Again, item J with the 2 arrows that you have on there,
That is correct.
those 2 areas of interest that you identified.
Yes.
This is a close-up of the one item J defect. What can you tell about this particular item that makes you, based on your training experience, say that it's a bullet hole?
Just based on the size, the distress in the jeans, or I'm sorry, in the clothing, and the diameter of the specific defect.
So going on to the black shirt that's been placed in evidence.
That is correct.
That's item K as you documented it. And the little letter K that you put on each of these photos. Why do you put it on the photos?
Because it's a close-up, just to be able to identify that this particular close-up pertains to the overall item K.
Okay. Now looking at the other side of that same t-shirt.
Correct.
Again, how can you tell, or what based on your training experience will tell you that this is a bullet defect?
Based on the perforation inside the clothing itself, to include the diameter of the defect as well.
Okay. Turn this back in to the clerk. So with regards to Christopher Thomas's clothing, did you recover money and currency from his clothing?
I would have to have my memory refreshed.
Okay. If I may approach what's been previously marked as State S after showing it to the defense counsel.
Yes, counsel.
Investigator Graham, showing it's been previously marked as States S for identification purposes only. Do you recognize your seal, your ID number, and the date of October 29th of 2018?
That is correct.
On the front of it, do you document the individual from which his item's clothing was collected, as well as the amount?
Correct.
Does looking at that refresh your recollection as to whether or not you collected currency from Christopher Thomas?
Yes, it does.
Did you collect currency from Christopher Thomas?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Is that fairly and accurately depict the currency and is in the same or substantially the same conditions when you collected on October 29th, 2018?
That is correct.
You're at this time the state of requesting the States S in.
No objection.
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States S will be marked States 19.
showing you what's been marked as States T for identification purposes. Are those the sneakers that we just used in those photographs?
Yes,
Do they in the same or substantially same condition?
yes.
Representative State requesting move States T in.
Any objection?
No objection.
T will be admitted in the next series, Council.
States T will be marked States 20.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Investigator Fair, would you be so kind as to open this and publish it for the jury?
It's like 20.
20. And Investigator Curry, those New Balance shoes, where were they collected from?
It shows that they were collected from the hospital.
With regards to the other items that were collected from the victims, did you collect any suspect narcotics?
Not to my knowledge.
In terms of events, that was October 29th of 2018, that was all the investigative work we did on that date.
Correct.
So I'm going to go forward to November 21st of 2018. What was your role in the investigation on that day?
On the 21st, can I have my report or some type of refresher?
Yes, would you help to refer to your report? I will
Please.
show defense counsel. Okay. And so if you would just refer to it silently to yourself and once your memory is refreshed.
Understood. Yeah.
Thank you. So on November 21st of 2018, what was your role in this investigation?
Responded to US 27 to document a additional scene that was believed to be some type of supplement to the initial call out for this case.
When you arrived on scene at the US 27, who else was there?
Several other detectives, law enforcement personnel, to include Miramar Police Department detectives and other crime scene investigators.
And with regards to those crime scene investigators, what was your specific role?
To assist in documenting and collecting any evidence that was observed on the scene.
Did you document collect evidence there?
Yes, I did.
Okay. In terms of, for start with the photographs, did you take photographs at that scene?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Showing what was been previously marked as states. V for identification. Investigator Curry, do you recognize that USB?
Yes, I do.
Do you recognize the photos that are attached to it?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize those?
It has my information on there, my badge number, Miramar Police Department badge number, and it's also in my name.
Did you have an opportunity to review the contents of that USB and those photographs before coming to court today?
Yes, I do.
Do they fairly and accurately depict the evidence and your processing and documenting on November 21st of 2018?
Yes, it does.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states V into evidence and permission to publish.
Any objection?
No objection, based with the same proviso. The USB we have not seen. If those are copies of the photographs, I have no objection.
State,
They are the same, Your Honor.
No objection.
they'll be admitted evidence.
States B will be marked States 21.
You may publish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Starting with the first image.
So the photo template, the initial photo that is taken with photograph in the scene.
And is this still under the same 18-10-06269 case number?
Correct.
And what date, again, was this done on?
November 21st, 2018.
The next photo, what are you showing here?
A location or establishing shot of where the scene is.
What direction are you facing in this photograph?
I believe it's going to be east to west. I'm sorry, south to north.
Hold on, just 1 second. Let me- So you said you were facing east in this direction, west, and US 27 would be behind you?
Bear with me. Yes, that is correct, east to west.
So for the purpose of further on pictures, the power lines that we see on the right side, that's the south side of the road,
That is correct.
and there are no power lines on the north side of the road.
That is correct.
Okay. You indicated that there were other investigators on scene as well.
That is correct.
Is this some of the canine officers you were discussing?
Correct.
So again, looking in an eastern direction, but now focusing on the south side of the road. Can you describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury some of the yellow and orange markers and what they're there for?
Yes. So the yellow and orange markers are there to help depict items of evidence that can't necessarily be seen as they are maybe covered by the shrubs or the grass.
So moving on, what direction are you facing in this photograph here?
Facing towards the west.
And so at the end of this street here, what road is this?
On the end there is US 27.
No. The items that we see here, the flags, do they correspond with a photo marker or are they indicating something else?
So they may be corresponding with the, they have a photo marker next to it, but they depict the actual pieces of evidence.
So going on to this next photo, again with the power lines looking at the south side of the street. How many items did you indicate with photo markers on the south side of the street?
7.
So on the north side of the street, how many items did you indicate with photo markers?
3.
Do they continue in sequential order?
Yes, they do.
1 through 7 is on the south side, 8, 9, and 10 on the north side.
Correct.
Again, showing 8, 9, and 10 on the north. So I want to go back to item number 1, back on the south side. Can you describe what we're looking at in this photo here with photo marker number 1?
Yes. The shell casing, spent casing, that's it.
That's that particular item?
That is correct.
Was this item collected?
Yes, it was.
Why do you take multiple photographs from different angles of these items?
Just to get an overall depiction of the specific item, and then also accounting for lighting or better visibility of the item.
And the glass appearing object underneath the casing, did you collect any of that specific glass right there?
I do not believe we did.
Why not?
I think after discussing with the investigators, did not believe that it was in reference or pertaining to the case item.
Okay. Did it have any characteristics of auto glass?
Objection beyond the scope
If she
of
knows.
her expertise.
Hey, first establish that she may know something about this.
So, Investigator Curry, and part of your training in crime scene, is it determining what evidence may be something that would be to collect?
Yes, it is.
In terms of the facts of the case, is that something that you're familiar with and you familiarize yourself with to know what types of evidence may exist?
Correct.
For glass and glassware, do you have any training in identifying potential sources of glass or other items that may be of evidence you're done?
Yes, I do.
With regards to the glass in the Jeep that was found at the hospital, had you had the opportunity to view that Jeep prior to November 21st of 2018?
Yes, I have.
The glass that was in the Jeep, was that consistent with the glass that's there in this photo marker number 1?
No, it was not.
Moving on to photo marker number 2. What are we looking at in this particular image?
So the glass fragments that are in the glass.
Going now to photo marker number 2, the next image. Can you describe to the ladies and gentlemen how you're taking this photo?
So it is considered a close-up photograph of the glass fragments. It is at 90 degrees directly over the glass that's on the ground.
Moving on to photo marker number 3. What was significant with photo marker number 3?
I would have to, are you able to zoom in? Is there another photograph? Or if I can refer to my report?
You can refer to your report. Would that help in refreshing your recollection as to photo number 3?
Yes, it would.
Okay. Council, do you need to see the report? Same report? Just ask for a
Same
refresher.
report, I have it, thank you.
Okay. And draw your attention to the third photo number 3. In reviewing that, is your memory now sufficiently refreshed?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so in this photograph here, what are we looking at?
Glass fragments.
And could you kind of circle it on the screen so it's clear to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what we're... Those look different than the last glass fragments
Yes, they
we
are.
were looking at. How are they different so it's clear on the record?
It appears to be a tint or a darker color.
Moving on to photo markers, and so for this is the establishing shot for which 4 photo markers?
4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay. Going to the close-up of photo marker number 4. What was the important item of evidence in this photo?
Spent casing.
Okay. There's a scale on each photo marker. Why is that?
We're able to document the size of the specific item in the picture or that we're photographing.
And are all of these items later on collected?
Yes, they are.
Going on to photo marker number 5. I'm going to start with the item to the left here. What is that?
Spent casing.
Okay. Moving over to the right of photo marker number 5. What is that?
Spent casing.
Did you collect both of those 2 spent casings?
That is correct.
Okay. And in terms of another view of these 2 casings on number 5, is that what we're looking at here?
That is correct.
Moving on to photo marker number 6. What? I'm going to move into the closer up one for photo marker number 6. I'm going to start to the one to the left. What is that?
Spent casing.
Okay. Is that the same one that was next to photo marker number 5?
Not to my knowledge.
And to the right, photo marker number 6.
It's another spent casing.
Going on to photo marker number 7. What are we looking at in photo marker number 7?
Spent casing.
Were all of these spent casings of the same caliber when you collected them?
Yes, they were.
Okay. Again, last photo here of number 7.
Spent casing.
Moving on to the north side of the street on 8, 9, and 10. What did you collect at photo marker number 8?
Glass fragments.
Is that a view of those glass fragments?
Yes, it is.
Moving on to photo marker number 9. What did you collect at this location?
Glass fragments.
Moving on to photo marker number 10. What did you collect at this location?
Glass fragments.
We're looking here now at one of the last 2 photos. What is this photo depicting?
Measuring, or a detective utilizing a measurement device.
And what is that measurement device?
It measures distance. It's a yardstick or meter stick.
So I'm going to go through now with those items that were collected. Council has been marked as State W.
Judge, can we approach briefly?
Yes.
My God, that's horrible. Park, who goes there? Where's the shampoo and conditioner?
In my room.
Oh, can you bring it back, please?
Can I bring it back tonight?
I've been using the trial ones.
Can I bring it back tonight? Because I'm going, Justin's in the car, but we're going back to Bridge Street, and then I'm going to go back to his place, shower, and then we're going to watch Game of Thrones. But, I need to wash my hair.
Wait, what?
I said, Justin's in the car right now. We're going back to Bridge Street real quick, and then, go back to his place to watch Game of Thrones, but I need to shower, and, I need to wash my hair today. So, can I bring it back to you tonight?
The noise is terrible. So let me just tell you guys, I've been looking up this sublimation, because you can only order it online. You can't buy it anywhere. But if you go back before sublimation was big, you can buy it. You can use poly something that they did before it was big. Just saying. It's her boyfriend. Not a friend, it's her boyfriend. Hey, Jason. I'm getting off in a minute, though. I gotta get out of here. Hang on 1 second. Dude, it don't matter if you smell. I think he looks crazy. What a waste of a life, though. Can't come in the house. Great, yeah. Aww. It's a pain in the ass with the dog. Buka goes nuts.
Okay, love you.
Huh?
Love you.
Love you too.
See you later.
Have fun.
I will. We're on season 5, dude.
I can't hear you. Teenagers. I'm telling you.
Are there 5 samples of glass fragments that are in that container?
That is correct.
And that you recognize your seal and ID number as
Objection,
signing on
leading.
that.
Sustained, don't leave.
With regards to that, is there anything else on there that was not on there when you last sealed it?
Yes, there is.
The yellow sticker here, do you recognize that?
No, I do not.
Here at this time, the state would request to move states W in.
Objection.
Yes. Credit. She doesn't recognize the seal on that particular item.
Anything else?
Incorrect statement as to that. It's theirs.
Excuse me, anything else, Mr. Adelson?
No, sir.
Objection's overruled. It'll be admitted.
States W, we mark states 22.
Moving on to what's been marked as states X for identification purposes. Showing counsel.
What number?
Okay, Investigator Curry, I'm now showing you what's been previously marked as states X for identification purposes. Do you recognize those items?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize them?
My writing on the packaging as well as my name and ID number, member ID number at the top.
And are they in the same or substantially same condition as when you collected them on November 21st of 2018?
That is correct.
Are they sealed?
Yes, they are, sir.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will request to move state X in.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
It'll be admitted.
States X will be marked states 23.
So, Investigator Curry, on states 22 and 23, did you photograph those items?
Yes, I did.
So I'm showing counsel what's been previously marked and reviewed as states composite Y, a USB, and 9 pages of photographs.
Just make the same representation.
Of course. Investigator Curry, I'm showing you now what's been previously marked as states composite Y for identification purposes only. Do you recognize that USB and those 9 pages of photographs?
Yes, I do.
Do they fairly and accurately represent the documentation that you did of states 22 and 23 that is now in evidence?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state requests to move states Y in as
Any objection?
No objection with the same proviso. The USB is the same as the photographs.
That's the
correct.
representation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, it'll be admitted.
Okay.
States Y will be marked States 24. So cost 1 USD for project 9 photos.
So starting with what's labeled as image 76, if you could just briefly describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury the case number that's on there as well as the number marker.
Yes, so the case number identifies, it's in reference to the same case that these items were collected. In regards to, the item number pertains to the photo marker that was in the photographs of the scene.
Prior to photographing and processing these on November 27th of 2018, did you do an MVAC filter?
Yes, I did.
Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is an MVAC filter?
So an MVAC filter, it's used to collect any type of DNA or any additional information utilizing a test. The MVAC, the MVAC system itself uses a filtered item. So any type of DNA that is collected off of the item that's being tested, it's filtered and put out to a filter that is then tested and sent off to a lab.
And so, Investigator Curry, do you have training and experience on when it is appropriate to try and collect DNA from items?
That is correct.
In this instance, did you walk the jury through, please, the process of how you did the MVAC filter collection?
With the assistance of additional crime scene technicians, after collecting the item itself, it is then submerged in sterile water. A machine then spins the item. In this case, it was the spent casing. It spins the item. The water then absorbs whatever that DNA or whatever particles are on the item that's within the water. And then after that, that water is then filtered through a kind of like a cotton swab or a cotton ball, and the remnants or whatever DNA or whatever additional items are filtered through that cotton ball and then sent out to the lab to be analyzed.
Can you see the DNA on there with the naked eye?
No.
Do you know if it's successful or not at the time you finish completing the filter?
No, we do not.
No. Going forward back to the photographs, you have a number 1 on here.
That's correct.
What does the number 1 correspond to with regards to the previous photographs you just looked at?
It corresponds to the yellow photo marker that was within the previous photograph.
Do you photograph each casing from all sides and angles?
Yes.
So that's item number 1. 3 photos of that. And now, so if you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what item we're looking at now.
Spent casing, identified as photo marker number 4.
With regards to the writing that's on the back of each of these spent casings, were they all consistent with one another?
Yes, they were.
And what type of writing or markings were on each of these casings?
Blazer, 40, S&W.
As a crime scene technician, what is a Blazer 40 S&W mean?
It refers to the caliber of the spent casing as well as the brand.
Moved on to item number 5 in these photographs.
Spent casing.
Were there more than one item at photo marker number 5?
Yes, there was.
Moving on to photo marker number 6.
Spent casing.
Again, was there more than one spent casing at photo marker number 6?
Yes, there was.
Moving on to photo marker number 7. What are you documenting in these photos?
Spent casing.
Moving on to photo marker number 2. What are you documenting in these photos?
Glass fragments.
Photo marker number 3.
Glass fragments.
Photo marker number 8. Now we're back on the north side of the road. Is my recollection correct on that?
That is correct.
Okay. Again, photo marker number 8.
Glass fragments.
Photo marker number 9.
Glass fragments.
And photo marker number 10.
Glass fragments.
So going forward, after you photographed these, I want to go to your investigation when you were in Margate, Florida, with regards to this case very briefly. Did you assist with a search warrant in Margate, Florida?
Yes, I did.
Did you collect any evidence there?
Yes, I did.
Were any firearms collected?
No.
With regards to that specific location in Margate, do you remember where it was?
Yes.
And where was that?
Don't remember the specific address, but it was near university.
Looking at is there anything that would refresh your recollection as to this specific address?
Referring to my report.
Counsel, do you need to?
No, I haven't, thank you.
Okay. So just read the first paragraph silently to yourself and let me know when your memory has been sufficiently refreshed.
Refresh.
Okay, and so what was the address of that?
5700 Toscana Place, apartment 307.
While you were at that residence, did you make contact with any individuals?
Not to my recollection.
The search warrant and the photographs that were taken at that, you said there was no firearms recovered?
Correct.
Was there a storage unit key that was recovered?
I would have to refer to my report.
Would that refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. And then the 6th paragraph, if you just read that silently to yourself.
Thank you.
So was there a storage unit key that was collected?
Yes, there was.
Was there mail collected from that location?
Yes, it was.
The individual that was named on the mail, who was that?
Jamell Demons.
With regards to later on that day, did you then help and assist on the execution of a second search warrant?
Yes, I did.
So that second search warrant at a storage unit location, did you recover any firearms there?
No, we did not.
Just a moment to complete those numbers. So I'm going to show you what's been show counsel. What's been marked as State Z. So I'm showing you what's been previously shown to defense counsel as state and marked for identification as State's Composite Z. Do you recognize those items?
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize those items?
With my handwriting on there, as well as my initials, date, and my Miramar Police Department number on the seal.
And do they are the same or substantially same conditions when you collected them on the October of 2018?
Correct.
Here at this time, the state would request to move State's Z in a composite of 3 items.
Is there any objection?
No.
It'll be admitted.
States.
Positive 3. What's the number?
State C is a composite of 3 items, and it will be marked states 25.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, 25, you said?
25.
And so, I'm gonna permission to publish state C.
You may.
Ms. Gray, if you'd be so kind as to open that and publish those items. And could you please tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what the items are?
A clear bottle cap, grabber leaf packaging with a black straw inside, and a Florida identification card for Anthony Williams.
And where were those items found?
Found at the hospital, retrieved from the hospital.
The items there, they're in the same condition?
Yes, they are.
With regards to what's been previously marked for identification as states AA, do you recognize that item?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
A impact filter from the spent casings found at US 27.
And how do you recognize that?
With my markings, my writing, as well as my badge number and the date on seal.
And is that in the same or substantially same condition as when you packaged it and processed it in November of 2018?
Yes.
You're at the stand, the state requesting of states AA and the states 26.
No objection?
No, no, sir.
It'll be admitted.
States AA marked 26.
So, Investigator Curry, with regards to suspect narcotics, if they are found, are those collected?
Yes, they are.
Did you collect any suspect narcotics in this case?
Not to my recollection.
Is there anything that would refresh your recollection as to that?
Yes, my report.
Okay. If I can approach, I have a copy of the property receipt with me. Sure. Would that help in assisting you?
Yes.
Okay. Can you explain to ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is a property receipt?
Yes. So property receipt identifies any type of evidence or items that are obtained or collected.
Is that something you document at the time when you were collecting the items?
That is correct.
Looking at that property receipt, are you refreshed as to direction if you collected any suspect narcotics?
That is correct.
Did you collect any suspect narcotics from the person of Christopher Thomas?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
Cannabis.
Okay. And that item, was it packaged?
Yes, it was.
Do you have the ability to test suspect narcotics at the Miramar Police Department?
Yes, we do.
In terms of, is it analysis for a chemical certainty or is it a presumptive test?
It's a presumptive test.
Additional testing for any such information as to what that substance was, what agency does that, to your knowledge?
It's sent out to the BSO lab.
So after you conducted the documentation, all the photographs, how do you preserve those photographs?
They are burned to a disc, whether CD or DVD, and stored in our evidence facility.
After you did that in this case, did that conclude your involvement in this investigation?
Yes.
Okay. No further questions at this time, Your Honor.
Counsel, can I see sidebar, please?
God, the noise is horrible. So what do you guys think? I think it's boring. And where's Crystal? She wanted me to run this. She's not even in here.
Now, so remember the admonition. Do not discuss the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. Don't allow anyone to discuss the case in your presence. Certainly no research about the case. Just leave your notepads on your chairs. Gary will pick those up, and we'll see everybody back. Now we're going to start 15 minutes later, 9:15 tomorrow. All right? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good night.
All right. Yeah, it blocks them from hearing it. It's just a really loud noise. All right, but I'm going to shut down now because I still got to do my car. It's already 4 o'clock. I didn't plan on being live all day, but thanks to Dayton, we were. I will run the trial again tomorrow. I'm going to find somewhere else to run it from than Long Crime, but I will run the trial again tomorrow. Hopefully it's more exciting. Things we do for our children, I tell you. So, all right, I will see you guys later. I probably won't be on again tonight because I really do have stuff to do. So I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful night. And thank you guys for the super chat, the Twitch, $100 donos, and Kick, a whole bunch of subscriptions, plus YouTube. So thank you guys so much. And PayPals and everything else. So I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, maybe tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful night. Peace.